Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the one and only, the infamous Moroccan harira or harira. This dish is, I think it's pretty much the queen of the Moroccan table during Ramadan. Like, I don't think there is a single household that doesn't make it. There may be exceptions, but I feel like it's very famous and it's very popular, and like it's pretty much everywhere in Morocco. Like every single region, every single like Moroccan household probably makes it during this during Ramadan, and I'll just show you the recipe and the ingredients and how to make it in the kitchen. What you'll need is 200 grams of chickpeas. We use canned just to save us time. It's typically done with like actual chickpeas that have been soaked through the night. Then we have 100 grams of lentils, and it needs to be soaked in water so that when you add them to the harira later on, it doesn't, split up and like open up. About three big blended tomatoes, and the tomato needs to be red and ripe, like this one. And they're big. They're approximately 1 kilogram of tomatoes blended. Then one big chopped onion, 3 tablespoons of coriander and 3 tablespoons of parsley. We don't usually have coriander, but this recipe calls for coriander. It needs coriander. Celery. These are celery leaves and they're finely chopped. If you don't have the celery leaves, you can just finely chop a regular celery. For the spices, we have 1 teaspoon of turmeric, half a quarter of a teaspoon of white pepper. Then we have a teaspoon of ginger. Then we have half a teaspoon of cinnamon and half a teaspoon of ras el hanout, which is a very typical Moroccan spice. Then we need salt, and this is smin, or it's actually clarified butter. These two, you can use them, and if you don't have them, you don't really need to, but if you live in the UAE, they're available in Ajman. We need about 3 to 4 tablespoons of vermicelli, 100 grams of flour, 1 egg, and a full tablespoon of tomato paste. And these 4 will be used later on. It looks like a complicated recipe, but that's just the ingredients. But it's very easy to do. So you'll just add the tomatoes. We've added the tomatoes to the pot. Next, we just add in our onion. Our parsley and coriander, and then the celery, our spices, the clarified butter, and salt. So now we mix them, and then we put them over medium heat for like 5 minutes. After about 5 minutes, now that everything has mixed in and soaked in the flavors and the spices, we add in the lentils. We're doing this to let the lentils cook a little bit more before we add in the chickpeas. Now, if you're not using canned chickpeas, then this will be the time to add in your soaked chickpeas and let them cook for about 15 minutes before adding the rest. But because we're using canned chickpeas, we can just omit that step. So this is why we use canned chickpeas, to save us a lot of time. You add it and you mix it around. Now we mix it for about 2 minutes and then add in approximately a liter of water, and we let it like cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, or until the lentils have started to cook. Now we add in the water. And we cover it and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. So after about like 10 to 15 minutes, we just check if the lentils have started to cook, and they look like it. So now we're just going to add in our chickpeas and about 2 liters of hot water. And we let it cook over medium heat for about 30 minutes. Because the lentils have already started to cook and our chickpeas are already cooked. So now we come back to for the 4 ingredients, and we take our flour and we put it into like a jar or a bottle, any, just so it's easier. So the reason we put it in a bottle or a jar is that when we add the water later on, it will be easier to like make sure that there are no lumps, because you can also do it in a bowl, but you really need to mix it very thoroughly so that you ensure that no lumps are available in the mixture. So now we add in our tomato paste, and we also need the tomato paste to be like a solution so that when we add it to add it to our harira. So now we add in our water. Close it and you just shake it around until you incorporate all of the ingredients. This process is done because it's a lot easier to mix it and ensure everything is well incorporated like this than doing it manually in a bowl with a spoon or a whisk. So after we mixed it, as you can see, it seems like it has no lumps. So now we just slowly incorporate it into our harira, because to ensure that it's to make it thicker basically, because otherwise it's just a soup. So we slowly mix it in until we get our desired texture. So now, as you can see, everything seems to be cooked, so we're just going to add in our flour mixture. And you add it while mixing, and the reason we don't add it all in at the same time is because we may have added too much or more than needed or desired. So as you can see, I haven't used the entire thing. We still have some left because I've already reached the texture I wanted. And you also make sure to test for salt and add if it's not how much you wanted. So now we just let it cook for about 5 minutes. We need the flour mixture to cook, and after that we add our vermicelli. Okay, so after about 5 minutes we add in our vermicelli. And I forgot to mention at the beginning that you can also add meat if you want. It's just that you add it at the beginning when you add all the tomatoes and coriander and parsley. When you add all of the ingredients, you add the meat at that step. The meat has to be cubed and like diced into small pieces so that it cooks better and it's soft and tender. We don't really add the meat because some family members are vegetarian, so we don't really add meat. Now we just add in so after we've added the vermicelli, we just stir it and we wait for about 5 minutes, but we keep watching and occasionally stirring so that the vermicelli doesn't stick to the wall. After everything has cooked, after the vermicelli and everything has been cooked, we just whisk our egg and we just like add it. And we mix it, and then we just serve it. We turn off the heat and we let it cool a little, and then we serve it. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, it's not too thin, but it's not too thick either. So to serve it, I always do it from the top because actually, spoiler alert, I don't really like chickpeas. A lot of them say that it makes the dish, but I just don't like. After putting it in a bowl, this is what it looks like. It looks so pretty and it smells like Ramadan. And as you can see, it's not too thick, but it's not too thin. And typically, now if you like acidity, you can squeeze in a little bit of lemon or lime. And typically how I like to eat it is by taking some small pieces of Moroccan bread and just putting it in there and covering it and eating it. It tastes amazing that way. That is the only way I actually eat it and enjoy it, but it's hot, but it's delicious. I told you, it will taste a lot better with bread. It's amazing. You should really try it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you like this kind of content, please like the video and subscribe and share it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.